Okay, so I'm going to just run through this real quick because I think it's fascinating. So you got my iPad, right? And you got this little minimal rig down here. But this little sucker switches on and off a bunch of things, and you can make multiple things to each switch. So you can have many different things going on and off at the same time. So let's open up the Aum Mixer. Now this mixer is quite interesting. So for instance, channel 1 got like an overdrive, pretty nice little overdrive. I'm not overusing it, right? Let's close that out. Then we got, let's reload that. This is the bias 2 or the bias X2, I guess. So, you got a comp, a boost, pitch, filter. I have so you can see they're not highlighted. That means they're off, and that means a switch turns them on. And those two go on, those two go on simultaneously because I thought that the pitch, which I'm using a Mutron, as you can see, needed a little bit of a treble boost with it. So it's got a treble boost, and there's many different flavors. I've got a pitch that goes on and off. I'm just using it for an octave. There's a Dumble clean sound, quite good. I like the Blue Line V2 amp and cab. It's really a bass amp, but it sounds fantastic with my lap steel. An EQ, a volume pedal, which is assigned to the expression input of the XTone Pro. Another little EQ, just kind of a shelving thing. It needed just an extra little bit of flavor in there. A vibe that turns on and off, a delay, echo tape. And by the way, this echo tape's flipping fantastic. And then a reverb. So that's that channel. So we go back to the mixer. And then I'm sending it to this channel, just like you would in Pro Tools or Logic or anything else. I've got a send, and this is my send channel. And on that send channel, I've got an EQ, a compressor before my reverb. I've got a delay after my reverb. I've got a modulation effect, which is really a tape cassette warbly sound. That is bypassed on and off by a switcher, and then another EQ. So that's my bus. And then I've got this Goss, which is an incredible new looping, sound on sound software manipulation. For instance, if I shake this iPad when I'm recording into here, it records the shake. It's built in, that's part of it. And you can reverse it, you can degrade it. Anyway, there's a million things. You should look up Gauss, G-A-U-S-S. It's flipping amazing. And then I've got Daedalus, which is this crazy, pitchy, gritty, lo-fi, granular effect. And that gets turned on by a switch, and the same switch turns on the Cosmonaut, which is a sound on sound for, I think it's a 4 second. I might have it at 4 seconds right now delay, but I think I can get it up to 8 if I wanted to. And a lot of different EQ tweaks and LFO tweaks I can do for that. Then I have another reverb, which is the Audio Damage EOS 2. Super fantastic reverb. Love it. And the Ape Delay, which is off, but it's kind of another granular, crazy, long, twisted delay, fantastic. And then just a little EQ at the end, not much. And that's my chain, right? There you go. And so I've got basically a live chain here of my guitar signal, precisely the way I want it, with some great plugins and some new software that are fantastic. And I've got a bus for my separate reverb, which is the Mangled Verb and some other weirdness with the Eventide. What's this thing called again? The Ultra Tap. That's just kind of like a long, wispy kind of granularly type delay. It's more for texture. And that's it. And that's my rig to take over to London. Okay, so I showed you the video of my iPad rig. Excuse the little camera in the way here because that's the camera on the iPad. We're going to do this kind of down and dirty, but you saw that video. How does it sound? Well, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to try to show you, but it's really cool. So basically the bass sound, and I will be stumbling around here trying not to hit the camera and my mouse messing with my recording. But there's an XTone Pro on the floor that is going to be used to switch certain things on and off, and maybe we can illustrate that on this screen here. All right, so basically this is the bass sound that I dig for doing free improvisation on my lap steel in my weird tunings, and this goes like this. You know, there's your basic sound. So what is that sound? Again, that sound is the Bias X2, I think it's called. I don't know why I keep screwing this up, but it's the Bias software on my iPad. And we can turn certain things on and off. So for instance, here's our sound. I can turn the vibe on. There you go on the low note. Right? So I can turn the vibe on. I just turned the vibe off, and you can probably see that on the screen here, so watch. There's it on, and there it's off, right? Cool. And there's other effects we can do that with as well, some of which are the pitch. Amazing, right? Pretty good. Sounds pretty good to me. Also, we have the Mutron and Range Master together that get turned on together at the same time from a single switch. So here's our regular bass sound. Turn it off. You see what I mean? So we have different sounds. I can turn the dumble off, although I like how it sounds, so I probably won't turn that off. Yeah, so you have different sounds. Okay, so we can also Now that's just in the bias. If we pull this back up, so that's what you can affect, turn on and off in bias. But you can also use the XTone to turn stuff on and off in the Aum Mixer. How do we do that? Well, okay, so I have this one switch I call weird, and that switch is this Daedalus crazy, I don't even know what to call it. It's like a granular warp bit crush crazy thing. But I can turn that and the Cosmonaut sound on sound delay on. And the Cosmonaut, the reason I put them on at the same time is that the Cosmonaut, I've got it low passed and high passed very specifically and filtered and LFO'd in a very specific fashion that it complements what the Daedalus is doing. So I want them both on at the same time. And then also it repeats. So how do we do that? How do we turn them both on? So if you watch down here, they're off. When they're to the left in the Aum Mixer, they're off. But I can turn them on. So here's our bass sound again. And I'll turn those on. And off. So as you saw them move on and off the left side of the screen, they're on and off. It's amazing. I already showed you earlier in the video the Goss sampler, sequencer, looper. I will do that in real time. It's in the signal chain. So if I close it here, you'll see it's in the signal chain. It's not to the left, it's in the signal chain. So I can just pull that up with my finger and hit record and start manipulating stuff very tactily after I've played. Or I could hit record play, obviously, and do manipulations and then just hit play. So that's why that one is in the chain, but I could turn it on and off as well. The other effect I would turn on and off manually is this Ape Delay. It's super cool, but it's also super, it impresses itself upon the signal quite a bit. So I will show you what I mean. So here's our sound. Super cool, but yeah, it you know, you don't want that on all the time. But I love it. It's super cool. The only other thing that gets turned on and off by the foot switch is this tape effect. It's it's actually a tape cassette effect, and that will be turned on and off in the bus. Only in the bus, that's only in the bus, but it is noticeable and it's a nice little texture to add in when you feel like it. So again, here's our bass. And here's the cassette. and then off. And you see it move to the left of the screen. So, there you go. That's Big Ed's live free improv London experimental rig on the iPad and the XTone Pro.